one thing that has stuck with me is I was in a fight with my mom one time in high school, and she looked at me and she said, "I don't even care that you're gay, I just wish that I had gotten one of the fun ones." And that was low-key the most homophobic thing anyone's ever said to me. Like, what she said is the problem, that we expect queer people to perform in a way that is palatable to them, or we expect them to perform in a way that's kind of abrasive to them, and they enjoy it anyway. So it's like, either way, they just want us to perform, period. And it's like, what if we don't want to? Like, then what?
Can I get your name and your age?
My name is Zack Crosby, and I'm 22.
What do you identify as, and what are your pronouns?
I would say I identify as queer, and my pronouns are she, they.
Okay. And when you say when you say queer, are you talking about your gender, or are you talking about your sexuality?
I would have to say yes. I love the term queer just because it's kind of all-encompassing, because I feel like my gender and my sexuality are also kind of all-encompassing.
When did you realize that you were queer?
It was kind of complicated because I was really bullied hard for being gay before I knew what it was. So that was something that was really confusing to me, because like, I didn't really know what being gay meant, or like what it even was, and people were calling me that, and they were like making fun of me, etc., like regular bullying stuff. But I guess everybody kind of knew I was before I did. But funny enough, in 5th grade, I picked up the House of Hades book from the Percy Jackson series, where Nico comes out to Percy about his crush, and that was like the first time I was like, whoa, gay people exist, and they're real, and they're cool, because Nico was always my favorite character. So that's when I really realized I identified as queer, and I only really found that through like a book character doing it, basically.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Riverview, Florida, and / Tampa, Florida, in and around there.
Okay. What was it like being queer in Tampa with you?
I mean, it was fun to go out in Tampa. Like, I always would be like going to Ybor after high school and stuff, and like hanging out like downtown. That was always fun. That was always a big thing to me, because there was such a community in the nightlife of Tampa, and like kind of like an unseen community, basically, that I could only find if I went there at night, like without my parents knowing, with my friends, etc. But like, besides that, like, kids in high school were crazy. They would like find out my pathways to class, and they would like change their pathways so they could walk next to me to call me a faggot. And then like, they also liked to throw stuff at me, like from their cars. So it was like, if I was walking to and from school, it was like a war zone, basically. But the second the sun went down, like, there was always kind of like a safety net for me, because I would always be with my friends, and we'd go out and we'd dress up and stuff, and it would be kind of like a liberation kind of thing. There was just always such a huge contrast between like me in dress code at school versus me literally the second school was over in my best friend's car headed to Ybor. So I definitely think it was hard, but there's also so many, like, I'm very privileged to have so many opportunities to escape it, I think.
So I heard you mention that you would go out like at night so that your parents wouldn't know. Is there a reason that you felt like you had to hide what you were doing from your parents?
Oh my gosh, my parents hate all of the gay stuff, really. They're not harmful about it. I guess ignorance is harmful, but like, compared to like some of the other stuff people go through, it's not like they're trying to kick me out of the house. But like, In freshman year, I tied my shirt in like a thought knot one day, and my mom hated that. She was like, "Don't do that, you look gay." And I was like, "Well." And then I came out as gay, and both of their responses were that I was doing it to fit in, which was so jarring to me. I was like, "You absolutely have no idea like what I'm going through on my day to day," because like the one thing I've been trying to run from, you said that I picked it up to fit in with my friends and like get more like social points. I was like, man, like you have no clue what goes on in high school nowadays. Like you don't know what it looks like, because that's not what's happening really. But no, I would say that I did have to hide that from them until they got old enough that it was like they had too many problems of their own to care about, that I could do what I want basically. But at the beginning of high school, they were kind of like control freaks, but they had like a lot of blind spots that I knew about because I was the youngest child. So it wasn't like that big of a challenge to me, kind of navigating them.
Well, what was coming out like, if you mind sharing?
It was definitely like not my choice. I don't think it's ever a lot of people's choices, but I mean, it started out as me being sad over this drama with this boy in 8th grade, and like moms like to like interrogate and like ask questions and ask questions, and it was like she was kind of dancing around this bush of asking me if it was like if I'm gay. So I was basically straight up like, listen, I know you're trying to ask this, like I am gay, like this is me coming out. And then I told her, I was like, but don't tell my dad, don't tell him yet, like give me a week, I'm not ready for that, like he's gonna act out, he's gonna go crazy, just give me some time. And she was like, no, I have to tell him. So she went and told him right then and there, and then he proceeded to come into the room and be like, being gay is not real, you're not gay, nobody's ever been gay, people are just gay because it's a trend. Like, you're doing this because you want your friends to like you more, and I know you, and I've lived with you, and I know you're not gay. And this is a phase that's gonna pass. But I love you anyway. And I was like, oh. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like after that, I totally shut them out. I'm a Scorpio, and I hold grudges, and apparently that doesn't really like with parents, it's still like, I'll hold a grudge, because I shut them out after that, and like, I'm really good at going like silent mode with them, and I kind of was just like silent for the rest of the time I lived in that house with them, which is really sad. But after moving out and like after living separately, they've kind of come around a little bit. But then I kind of figured out I was trans, so it's like another hurdles in front of them that they need to come around for. But I've honestly like I've crashed out on my crash outs, so it's like I don't really care about their opinion anymore. And I can't necessarily say that I ever did care about their opinion on my queerness, just because they're so far removed from it. It's like I don't even know if they have the capability to understand the way that I wish they could, and I guess I had to come to terms with that like really fast. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, this is good. So you mentioned that you realized that you were trans.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that you were trans, and what is transness to you?
In high school, I would consider myself really trans adjacent. I was friends with a trans man who had just come out, and I was there for him like through that whole journey, and I saw a lot of it. But in doing that, I kind of, I put all of my support into him, and I never really thought about me being trans myself and how maybe that is what brought us together and what brought us so close, because I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until freshman year of college when I got here, when I finally got away from everything and I could finally like think about myself, and it was like just myself. I was like, girl, you have something going on here. Like there's something more. I think transness to me is, there is a disconnect. It gets complicated. This is why I like the word queer, just because the definitions to me, I get confused about, because I'm like, I do feel a disconnect between like my gender and my body, but I also feel like everybody has the capability to like portray both genders. Like I feel like us as people, we kind of exhibit both genders like all day, every day, and it's kind of just about like which one you would prefer to like emphasize to me, I guess. So it's like transness is to me like I don't I guess I don't know. I guess I don't really know. I don't know if I'll ever know. I mean, I have dysphoria. I have dysphoria, but my dysphoria disagrees so much with my logic about being trans because I think cis women can have beards. I think cis women can have hairy legs and hairy arms and armpits. I love all of that. I mean, like, and so then I'm like, so why wouldn't a trans woman be allowed to have those things if I hold that logic for cis women, if trans women are women? And you know, it all comes down to like, I don't think I should have to shave my like beard, my stubble, anything. But then it comes to the point like, are you connected when you look in the mirror? Like, are you looking at yourself? And every single time I try to let my facial hair grow out, it does not feel right. Like every single time I leave the house without earrings on or like anything, if I put too much of my hair up where it doesn't look like I have hair, like it just creeps up on me and it gets to me and I'm like, I don't want to say that's transness because I'd like to say it's some beautiful like experience, but I do think it's something that creeps up on us and kind of sits on our shoulder a little bit.
Wow. So, how do you express your transness?
I think it comes through in my art a lot just because I have such high standards for like what I would like to look like, what my ideal look would be. Like there's so many like body modifications I want to do before like I am like what I want to look like. So I feel like I funnel a lot of my gender euphoria into my art for now until I can bring that on to myself a little bit more. So like the vampire behind me, I love just finding the feminine side in everything. Like, I want to find the feminine side in like a disgusting, crazy werewolf. I wanted to find the feminine side in like a creepy, like Nosferatu vampire. Like, I feel like there's like a beautiful feminine side to everybody, like in everything. And I feel like I want to express transness in kind of just like showcasing it. Like, I only do my makeup like maybe once a month because it's just so much work. It's a lot of work. I wish I did it every day because I would be so happy, but I need like I need an antidepressant or something before I can do that. But doing my makeup is another like way. But then I go back on this and I'm like, man, like doing makeup shouldn't, like makeup and like all of these things shouldn't define femininity. So every single time like my dysphoria and like my opinions kind of are always just at an odds with each other, I guess, about it. So, yeah, I guess I don't really ever get to really enjoy it that way though. Because I'm like, I do my makeup and then I'm like, oh, I hate how society makes women have to do their makeup. But then I'm like, oh, I love makeup, you know? I just don't know where the line is. I don't think I ever have.
Okay, speaking of expressing ourselves, do you think that, well, obviously because, you know, you have had a change in the way that you express yourself over time, do you find that people treat you differently based on how you look or how you express yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Junior year of high school, my gay man self decided that I was sick of everyone's bullshit. I was gonna wear a new outfit every day and I was just gonna be a bitch. Like, I watched so much TV, I watched so many shows, I watched a lot of like Bad Girls Club and like Flavor Flav and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna let these hoes have it. You know what I mean? Like junior year's my year, which is funny because COVID hit that year. But I wore a different outfit every day and I was kind of just a bitch to everybody, like just evil, which I regret now. I'm like, that wasn't nice. But everybody stopped fucking with me, like actually. And I was like, damn, like, is this all it was? Like, is that really all it was, that I just had to like own it And I guess it was because I went too crazy maybe at first with owning it, but I think because I went so crazy at the gate, I kind of figured out how to hold my stance in social situations while not impeding on other people. Because I think junior year I was holding my stance, but I was also kind of shoving other people out of the way. And I feel like now I kind of know how to stay still, but also stay steady. And I feel like that people will leave you alone if you give off the vibe that like you already know. Like they can walk up to you and they can be like, "Oh, Twinkie," and if you look like you already know that you're a twink, if you look like you already know that you're a fag, nobody's gonna say it to you. You know what I mean? I think people prey on doubt, and if you get rid of doubt, I think a lot less people will like come for you.
So you were telling me that basically you were using, what was it, like an attitude or the way that you express yourself as like a defense mechanism?
Absolutely. And that's something about my work last year is I was making this hard candy series about the kind of defense mechanisms queer people have to put up for to kind of exist in I'm not queer society, regular society. But then when I started this series, I realized that they want us to put on those performances because it's entertainment. I didn't really realize that until this year. I don't know what made me realize that. It was just kind of something that dawned on me. I was like, that I learned that from watching TV shows of people who love watching that stuff happen, and I realized that like I stopped getting hate by performing for them. We'll call them because they really are just like them. But like I I think that was like it's like a defense mechanism, but then there's such an underlying thing where it's like they eat it up. Like I think they secretly eat it up when gay people act like that. And so now I've kind of adopted this kind of like fly on the wall kind of vibe. That's kind of what these are too. It's like I wanted to strip the defense mechanisms off and just be like, this is vulnerability and it's strong and it's staying still and it's not going anywhere, and that should be enough, I guess.
Are there any significant experiences of homophobia or transphobia that you would like to talk about?
I've blown up on TikTok a couple times. I've gotten my fair share of crazy ass comments. It's all kind of like not interesting to me anymore, just because like sometimes it's funny, like sometimes they crack a good joke, but then sometimes it's just like things I've heard before over and over and over. So I kind of like tuned it out. But one thing that has stuck with me is I was in a fight with my mom one time in high school, and she looked at me and she said, "I don't even care that you're gay. I just wish that I had gotten one of the fun ones." And that was low-key the most homophobic thing anyone's ever said to me. Like, honestly, props to my mom for coming up with that, because I was like, damn. I was like, she's kind of right though. Like, why can't I like pop music and going shopping? You know what I mean? Like, my life would be so much easier. But it's like, that's the problem. Like, what she said is the problem, that we expect queer people to perform in a way that is palatable to them. Or we expect them to perform in a way that's kind of abrasive to them, and they enjoy it anyway. So it's like, either way, they just want us to perform, period. And it's like, what if we don't want to? Like, then what? You know?
Okay. Okay. So how long have you been making art?
I've been making art since I was really little, but I would say that I gave up on it when I got to high school. I was really into it in middle school, and then I gave up on it when I got to high school because I was like, I'm going to do culinary and I'm going to be a chef and I'm going to make a lot of money. And then I did that for 2 years, and I got pretty far in like some ACF bullshit, like stuff I didn't care about. And I realized that like I was going to get torn apart in this field as a gay person. Like the way they all talk to each other and the words they use in like the culinary like high up place, like just like calling everybody like every slur you could think of just in the kitchen. And I was like, I don't know if this environment is going to like, I just feel like it's going to break me. So I went back to art, and then I was welcomed back with open arms by my high school art teacher, and I kind of like hit the ground running, and I was like, wait, like why did I ever think like I wasn't going to do this? Like this is literally all I know how to do. So that was like my big return, and I haven't put down the pencil since then. So my big return, 16, I really re-entered making art.
Okay, and what mediums do you normally use?
I only use oil paint. Um, I also use found objects, but no, I only use oil paint.
Okay.
Sometimes I draw, sometimes I doodle, but my actual artwork is always oil paint.
Can you talk to me about your intention as an artist?
My intention, especially with this body of work, is to represent queer people as I think they always should have been represented. I don't think we're human. That sounds like a crazy thing to say, but like in the sense that I don't think we can exist in this system because it was not built for us. So by making queer people vampires and werewolves, I'm kind of acknowledging the fact that we're a different species. We don't want any of the things that you want or have spent 50 years building in this country. Like, I don't really want to get married. I don't care about marriage. Like, marriage is a crazy construct. And like so much of the things that like they think that we want, like they think that like we want all of these things when really we kind of just want the right to be and the right to exist peacefully and the right to make art and the right to have a voice. And it's like, I don't care about marriage. I don't care about any of these things. I think the passport thing is really messed up, and it's like also a thing where it's like literally like they're just being petty. I just feel like it's petty, all of it. And I want to make work that kind of acknowledges that like I don't really want a part in it, and I kind of want to destroy it. Like I don't want to be assimilated. I don't want to fit in. I don't want these people to like me. You know, like I don't want the government to like me. I feel like that would be the last thing I want. And I feel like with the work, I combine these signs of like fake titles. Like above me is Horror of Fagula. And then I combine those with poetry hidden throughout the work to kind of contrast these kind of like misrepresented narratives. Like I feel like in the news right now, especially, like they're using trans women as these crazy ass spectacles for these crazy news articles to get everybody heated, to get everybody mad at each other, when a trans woman's just trying to use the bathroom. She's just trying to take a piss. And I'm like, that's kind of what this is about, like especially because it's like they want us to play these kind of villain roles, and then when we don't play into it and we don't act and we don't put on the costume for them, we still end up on like the cover of the movie poster, basically, even though we didn't do anything to like, I don't know, I'm trying to like capture that, but it's also still like a learning process because I feel like I'm unlearning a lot of things while I work on it, and it's kind of just this constant like adding and taking away and adding like conceptually of like how I want to get my point across about this. Because I want it to be comforting, I want it to be vulnerable and sweet for queer people to come look at it and be like, wow, this is a beautiful piece of queer artwork that I can see myself in and like be happy about. But I also want to challenge straight people. Like I want them to be challenged when they look at this. I want them to be like, just thinking. If I can just make a straight person think for like 2 seconds, I'll be happy, I think. I just want them to think, and I want gay people to look at my work, and I want them to be happy.
Wow. I saw like when you were talking, like I heard a parallel from like the comment you made about your experience in 11th grade and how people expected you to like be mean like as a gay person. And I also heard you say just now about like how the government is like portraying trans people as like these villains. So that's kind of like a common theme in your life and in your work. I think that's very interesting.
And I love a gay villain. I mean, like, we grew up with gay villains. There's him from Powerpuff Girls. There's Ursula. Like, gay villains have been the backbone of more, like, most storytelling in the past, like, like 40 years. I don't know time that well, but like, I just can't believe that like they can make like a group of people the backbone of something that like they literally just aren't participating at all in. It kind of like boggles my mind a little bit because I'm like, it's just random. I mean, like, I've gone through phases where I'm like, oh yeah, like, I want to be a gay villain. Like, I'm so empowered by being evil and gay, which is all fine. Like, I love an evil gay person. I believe evil gay people deserve all of the space in the world because there's so many evil straight people that, like, we deserve some evil gay people too to, like, balance it out a little bit. I'm like, let gay people be evil. I'm not going to be evil. Well, I'm a little bit evil. But I'm going to try to be less evil because I think it's what they want. I do think it's what they want because they want to use us as villains. But I'm like, if a gay person is like, fuck it, I'm going to be evil then, and just give them what they want, I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's not me, I'm like, hell yeah, I couldn't do that. But I respect you. But also, no, actually, yeah, I respect you. I think that's awesome. Evil gay people are cool.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I like the amount of like agency you have in your own image, and not even the way that people perceive you, but the way that you perceive yourself. You really take ownership of that.
Thank you.
Can you talk to me about this painting behind you, or this artwork behind you?
This was kind of like a love letter to myself. I have two paintings over there that are kind of about my coming out experience and like the aftermath of those, and I'm really proud of them, but like the process of making them was kind of like I was like, do you know when they bring out those huge wheels of carbonara and they put the pasta in it and they like mix it around and you know what I'm talking about? Where they have the wheels of carbonara and they like light it on fire and it makes a bowl in the cheese where they mix the pasta around.
So now that you're describing it, yeah.
Well, when I was making those paintings, like the wheel of carbonara was my brain and the art was like the hot pasta just like taking all the cheese away. So like when I finished those two paintings, my brain was kind of this like empty cheese rind, but I had all this delicious like Alfredo pasta that makes me really sad. And it's like making that work takes so much out of me because I have to think so much about like the one part of my life that I hate thinking about. So after those, I did this as like a love letter to myself about self-care and isolation and solitude and kind of just like, this is like what I want to do. I want to sleep. I don't want to participate in the news and like all of the stuff they want us to do, etc. Like I just want to sleep and be queer. I kind of want to stay in my coffin. So this is kind of me allowing myself space to do that, I think. Because I feel like there's always something in the back of my mind that's like, no, like you have to speak up for people, like you have to advocate, you have to like kind of fight for change. But for this piece, I'm like taking a break, I guess. I'm like, I deserve to rest a little bit, and I deserve to be by myself because I'm really the only one who knows how to hold myself, really, I guess. No, but this was really like cathartic, I think, for me, just because it was like, it's like a breather. I mean, like, this is where I am right now. I'm just like they can be like horror fagula, and I'll be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm asleep. I'm not awake. I don't care anymore. basically. Is this how I'm gonna feel in 2 weeks? Probably not. I'll probably have a new painting in 2 weeks that's about how I feel. But right now, this is how I feel after like making those sad, sad, sad paintings.
Okay. Is that all you have to say about it?
Um, sorry, I just like looking at it. I wanted this to be like ecstasy in a little bit of a way. Like the vampire's crying, but like it's not sad. It's crying of like joy, but it's also low key like the vampire is kind of coming, but it's not coming. It's like maybe it's like pre-cum, maybe like they had a good dream, and then the glow in the dark stars is like I just like a nostalgic like kind of like I always find myself escaping into nostalgia and kind of just going back and like watching old horror movies and watching old like I love Victorious. I'm always watching Victorious, and it's like I'm always going back to a time before I came out, I think, for solace and for peace. And this is also what that is. I think the stars show that, but also on the other side is some of my poetry on like notebook paper. And I used to write on a notebook. Everybody wrote on a notebook though. That's actually not crazy. I'm gonna move on. But yeah. Oh, and I really loved painting a jockstrap. That was one thing that I wanted to do this year is paint a jockstrap. And I was like, who should I put in a jockstrap? And I was like, this was gonna be a nude. And I was like, no, I feel like a jockstrap will complete this. Cause I really, I think they're just queer. I think jockstraps, I mean, I guess I know, but I also don't know. But they just have like a queer vibe. They're like gay ass jockstrap.
Wow, it's more beautiful the more I look at it. And it is very queer, I have to say. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any message to the world? Anything you want the world to know about you?
Be gay, do crime. Be evil, be good, just be gay while you do it. Just whatever you do, just be gay. Just be queer about it. I don't know. That's my motto. Whatever I do, if whatever you do, if you do it in a gay way, I think it's a little bit okay. Don't like quote me on that. I'll get a lawyer, but